Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut for figuring out what really matters today. And today we're jumping into employment law. It's moving incredibly fast.
It really is so much change, hidden risks everywhere. It feels like, constant surprises.
Exactly. Like that game of whack-a-mole, right? Trying to keep up with all the new rules.
Yeah, and that's why this deep dive is, well, pretty essential right now. We're aiming to cut through the noise.
Our mission today is basically to boil down the big changes happening now and give you a clear picture of what's likely coming down the pike in 2026.
Because just knowing isn't enough.
Right.
You've got to understand it and then actually, apply it. That's where the real value is.
Absolutely. And guiding us through all this complexity, we're pulling insights from Louis Lessig. He's often called the employment law translator.
Yes. Louis. He really knows his stuff.
He does. He recently did this briefing, 2025 Employment Law Briefing, Risks, Retaliation, and What's Coming in 2026. Had over 100 people there, live and virtual.
Wow, that's quite a turnout. Shows the demand for this kind of clarity.
For sure. And you could really feel his passion for getting organizations ready. So, okay, let's unpack this. We're focusing on four main areas he laid out.
Federal versus state concerns.
Yeah.
That dynamic.
Yeah, then the huge issue of retaliation claims exploding.
Then the changes in key agencies, how they operate.
And finally, AI. The super fast evolution of AI in, the workplace.
And it's not just about knowing the laws for each of these. It's about being proactive, right? Thinking ahead.
Exactly. Being prepared.
What's really interesting, I think, is how these four areas aren't separate silos. They're like all connected.
Intertwined.
Yeah. Which creates challenges, definitely. But also maybe some opportunities for companies that are really thinking ahead.
So we'll dig into those connections, including some specifics Louis mentioned, like the real world stuff with ICE, immigration, and customs enforcement.
Right. And that surprising drop in headcount at the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission.
All aimed at giving you a hopefully clear and positive roadmap heading into 2026.
Okay, let's start.
So first, big area, federal versus state employment law. That growing complexity Louis talked about.
If you operate in more than one state, this is just a constant headache. Trying to juggle all the different rules.
It really gets interesting here because the priorities often don't line up, do they?
Not at all. Sometimes they're pulling in completely opposite directions.
So at the federal level, what are the main things employers need to watch?
Okay, federally, Louis was clear. Retaliation is number one. Top of the list. Big focus.
Retaliation. Got it.
Beyond that, you've got discrimination, obviously. Paid leave is talked about. But remember, FMLA, the big federal law, is still unpaid leave.
Right. Important distinction.
And then there's AI, a huge federal focus. They've basically said they want the U.S. to be the global leader in AI.
Even with states doing their own thing on AI regs?
Yeah. Despite all the local rules popping up, the federal government has this distinct goal. And then immigration is a major federal piece, too.
You mentioned ICE earlier. Louis shared a really unsettling story about that, didn't he?
He did. A client's employee, his wife was French, married to an American, 2 kids, but ICE showed up at their door asking for documents.
Wow. Just like that.
Yeah. And the experience was so jarring, they actually decided to move back to France. Packed up and left.
That's incredible and really highlights the human impact.
It does. And you mentioned other cases, employees literally hiding. This isn't like a political debate point. It's a serious operational issue for certain industries, certain groups of people. It's a big deal.
Beyond immigration, any other federal levers?
Well, tariffs were mentioned. Not strictly employment law, maybe, but they impact business, supply chains, costs.
Okay.
So they matter.
True. Indirect impact.
And, of course, the whole marijuana legalization situation. That's constantly shifting.
The New Mexico example was fascinating.
Wasn't it? Generating so much state revenue, they're giving, what, $500 checks to a resident?
And laptops for every school kid.
Right. It just shows the huge financial pull for states to make their own policies, even if they differ from the federal stance.
Okay, so that's a glimpse of the federal side. What about the states? Where are their priorities diverging?
Well, some overlap, naturally. Retaliation is big at the state level, too. AI is definitely a concern for states.
But some unique things, too.
Oh, yeah. Pay transparency is one. Louis called it a wave that's still rolling out state by state with different rules everywhere.
That must be tough for compliance.
Definitely. And the other huge one, non-competes. States are really pushing hard on restricting non-compete agreements right now.
Why the big push on non-competes from states specifically?
Lou used that Jimmy John's example, the sandwich chain.
I remember that. They had sandwich makers sign non-competes.
Exactly. The FTC went after them. And that kind of overreach is exactly why states are stepping in forcefully.
Makes sense.
Like, New Jersey has a bill proposing an almost total ban, except maybe for very top executives.
So what does that mean for companies?
It means you absolutely have to review your confidentiality agreements, your trade secret protections, because the non-compete might not be enforceable soon.
So the action is really at the state level there.
That's what Louis said. States are where stuff's happening. That's why groups like CHRM, the HR organization, are focusing more lobbying effort on state capitals.
Gotcha. And what about worker misclassification? Is that another area with state-federal differences?
Oh, absolutely. A distinct delta, as Louis put it.
How so?
Federally, for a while, agencies were kind of told to back off on enforcement, even though the rules are still there.
Confusing, right?
Yeah, very.
But some states, like New Jersey again, they're going after misclassification cases aggressively. The state SHRM Council even wrote a letter opposing changes that would make it harder to classify workers as independent contractors there.
So it's still a major battleground at the state level.
Very much so. Constant flux.
Okay, that state-federal divide is clearly a minefield, which leads perfectly into the second critical area Louis stressed, this retaliation explosion. Yeah, he was really emphatic about this. Said it's the #1 risk for employers, period.
So, given that, if the risk is so high, and we'll get into why, what's maybe the single biggest mindset shift an HR leader needs right now when an employee raises a concern?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Because the scale is just huge. Statistically, like we said, #1 risk. Over half of all charges filed with the EEOC and similar state agencies are retaliation claims.
Over half. Wow.
Yeah, and the money involved. He mentioned the single jury award over $1.6 million, just for one retaliation case.
Okay, so the stakes are incredibly high. What fundamentally changed to make it easier to claim retaliation?
There was a really significant Supreme Court case, came out of St. Louis, and it basically lowered the bar for what counts as harm.
Lowered the bar, how?
It used to be you had to show significant connective harm, like a demotion, a firing, something major and clearly linked. Now the standard is just some harm.
Some harm? That sounds vague.
It is. It means even smaller things could potentially count. A subtle snub, being left out of meetings, maybe less desirable assignments, things that are harder to pin down.
So it's much easier for a claim to proceed.
Exactly. It's much harder to win summary judgment now. That means fewer cases get dismissed early on.
Which means more cases go further, costing more in legal fees.
Precisely. Litigation costs go way up. So that mindset shift for HR. Every single complaint, even seemingly minor ones, has to be treated with extreme care and thorough, objective investigation. The potential liability is just that much higher now for even subtle actions.
That really clarifies the risk. So besides that legal shift, what else is driving this? What's maybe an underestimated factor fueling this retaliation surge?
Louis hit on a few things. One that might be underestimated. He called it the almost obliteration of any level of civility in the workplace.
Interesting.
When basic respect breaks down, people are quicker to perceive actions as negative or retaliatory, right?
Makes sense. Little things get magnified.
Yeah. Plus, the scope of protected activities has expanded. More things count as legally protected complaints or actions.
So more potential triggers for retaliation claims.
Exactly. And critically, this is huge, the need for manager training.
Yeah.
Laws change, expectations change. Managers have to keep up.
They need to evolve.
They have to. Louis put it bluntly. Evolve, or maybe you're going to get performance managed out. Managers are often the first line. Their actions can create massive liability if they aren't trained on the current landscape.
And the financial hit isn't just potential lawsuits, is it? It affects insurance, too.
Oh, absolutely. Higher risk means higher insurance costs. You need to understand your policies. EPLI, employment practices, liability insurance versus your standard CGL, commercial general liability.
What should companies look out for with EPLI?
Deductibles are climbing. Policies have more restrictions, more exclusions, and really check the attorney selection clause.
Why is that clause so important?
Because you want to be able to choose your own employment lawyer, someone who knows your business, knows the specifics. Louis suggested spending a couple shekels up front for that right is often worth it, rather than just getting whoever the insurance company assigns.
Good practical tip. So, given all this risk, how can employers proactively manage this? How do they own the activities, as Louis put it?
He had some really clear, actionable steps. First, do not rush to judgment. Pause, gather facts. Don't react emotionally.
Don't rush.
Second, Always look at how an employee was treated before they raised an issue. That context is crucial for assessing if later actions could seem retaliatory.
Establish a baseline, essentially.
Exactly. Third, brainstorm, don't be locked into rational thoughts. Sometimes you need creative solutions, understanding emotions are involved.
Think outside the box a bit.
Right. Fourth, and this is huge, documentation is your friend, especially now. Contemporaneous notes, clear records, critical.
Document, document, document.
Yep. And finally, engage with your employment counsel. Specifically, employment law experts, not just your general corporate lawyer.
Yeah.
This area is too specialized and changes too fast.
That's really solid advice. Okay, so we have the tricky federal-state balance, the massive risk of retaliation, which ties into the third area. The agency landscapes themselves are changing.
Right. The federal agencies enforcing these laws are in flux.
What's happening at the Department of Labor, the U.S. DOL?
Big changes. Louis mentioned over 60 proposals dropped just in July, covering everything from workplace safety, healthcare, federal contractors, benefits.
60 proposals, wow.
Yeah, he said it's just the start, signaling a lot more regulatory action coming from them.
Anything notably missing from those proposals?
Interestingly, yeah, independent contractor issues weren't really featured prominently, even though that's still a huge practical issue, as we discussed with the state actions.
Okay, what about the NLRB, the National Labor Relations Board?
Also seeing shifts. New general counsel, some older policies rescinded. There's even ongoing litigation about removing board members.
So political shifts impacting the agency.
Pretty standard with administration changes, but still requires attention. And non-competes are still on their radar too, aligning with that broader trend.
Now, this brings up a really important point you touched on earlier, the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. What's happening with their resources?
This is a really critical piece. The EEOC's staffing, their number of full-time equivalent employees, FTEs, has dropped significantly.
How much?
From around 2,250 down to about another 750. Louis said that's a 50-year low.
A 50-year low. What's the impact of that?
The direct impact is pretty obvious. Longer wait times for people filing charges, especially federal employees. Things just move slower.
And isn't there another agency being folded into the EEOC?
Yes, the OFCCP, the Office of Federal Contract Compliance Programs, its discrimination work is moving to the EEOC, which is already understaffed.
So adding more work to fewer people?
Pretty much. Other parts of OFCCP are going to VETS, the Veterans Employment Training Service, but the core discrimination enforcement goes to the strained EEOC.
What's the likely consequence of that?
Well, it might push more claimants towards state agencies if they have better staffing and can move cases faster. It really highlights the pressure on the federal system right now.
Okay, that paints a picture of strained resources at a key federal agency. Let's shift now to the final, really forward-looking area, AI, artificial intelligence.
Yeah, this is moving at lightning speed, and the implications for HR are huge.
Louis framed it as a real opportunity for HR, didn't he? To own the space between employees and AI, focusing on the human side.
Exactly. It's a pivotal moment. He quoted Goldman Sachs' CIO, Marco Argenti, who predicted HR will soon manage both human and machine resources.
Human and machine resources, wow.
Argenti even mentioned potential AI layoffs as the tech gets better. And you see employee anxiety reflecting that.
What did the data show on employee feelings about AI?
Stanford's AI department found, like, 45% of employees don't trust AI. 23% fear losing their jobs to it. 16% worry about the lack of human oversight.
That fear of job loss is real then.
Oh, yeah. Louis gave the concrete example. IBM replacing hundreds of HR employees with AI. That's not hypothetical.
Oof. Okay. But it's not all negative, right? Employees see upsides too.
Definitely. Almost 70% see AI freeing them up for more interesting, higher-value work. And nearly half noted it reduces repetitive tasks and can improve quality.
So what do employees actually want when it comes to AI at work?
The data suggests they want partnership. 45% preferred an equal partnership between worker and AI, and over a third wanted human oversight in critical junctures.
So not full automation, but collaboration with human control points.
Precisely. And that is where HR's amazing opportunity comes in, as Louis put it.
How does HR seize that opportunity? How do they own this space?
By becoming the bridge, focusing intensely on the distinct skills gaps and communication needs created by AI.
Meaning training and development.
Deep investment in the human side of training. Critical thinking, emotional intelligence, creativity, communication skills, AI can't replicate. Louis was clear that human element is not going away and is not going to be done by AI.
So HR champions the human skills needed to work effectively with machines.
Exactly. Guiding the integration, ensuring fairness, addressing fears, shaping the new way of working. It's a strategic leadership role.
And just like with non-competes, are states jumping into AI regulation too, creating another layer of rules?
You guessed it. The legislative map is changing constantly. Louis showed a map as of just days ago, showing states with AI laws already enacted, others with bills pending.
Any example?
Virginia's governor actually vetoed an AI bill about recruiting, showing there's still debate. New York City already has specific bias audit and notice laws for AI in hiring, even as the state considers broader legislation.
So more complexity for employers. What are the key best practices emerging from these state laws?
Some clear themes are emerging. Transparency is key. Tell applicants if AI is used. Bias audits. Regularly check your AI systems for fairness. Risk management policies. Have clearer guidelines. Discrimination. Always analyze for potential bias. Consent. Get it for things like facial recognition. And notice. Tell people if AI is involved in a decision about them.
Those seem like solid principles for a responsible AI use.
They are. They provide a good starting point for companies trying to navigate this ethically and legally.
Wow. Okay. We have really covered a ton of ground. Federal versus state confusion, the impact of agencies like ICE, the huge risk of retaliation, shifting agency resources like the EEOC staffing, and this massive wave of AI.
Yeah, it really brings home Louis Lessig's message about preparation, thinking about what you need to do back at your desk now to be ready for 2026.
So let's crystallize those key takeaways. What should listeners be focused on?
Okay, first, keep a constant eye on that federal versus state dynamic. Expect more regulations coming, especially for the DLL. Don't get caught flat-footed.
Monitor and anticipate. Got it.
Second, retaliation. Understand it's only going to get more expensive. So prepare your managers, review your processes, take complaints seriously.
Preparation for retaliation is paramount.
The third, think strategically about litigation and agency interactions. How will you handle ICE showing up? How are you adapting to non-compete changes? How will EEOC delays impact your strategy?
Adapt strategy to the changing enforcement reality.
And finally, AI. See it as that amazing opportunity for HR to truly own this space. Lead the integration, focus on the human skills, bridge the gap between people and machines.
Embrace the HR leadership role in AI. It's not doom and gloom, as you said.
Not at all. It's a chance for HR to be incredibly strategic and vital to the future of work. It's a positive challenge, really.
Absolutely. So as a final thought for everyone listening, something to mull over, how will this dual focus on the human factor in AI and the growing complexity of state and federal laws, how will that fundamentally change what it means to lead and manage an agile, effective workforce in the next few years?
That's the big question to ponder. And remember, if you want help navigating these challenges, Louis Lessig is passionate about working with organizations.
Right. He's happy to engage and help you prepare for 2026.
You can reach out to him directly. His email is lessig@brownconnery.com. That's LLESSIG@brownconnery.com. Or just call the office. He really wants to help organizations tackle this proactively.